earlier we spoke in terms of preparations towards this exercise, and have you made your way towards the former office of Professor Kithure Kindiki? And if you can just bring us up to speed on what is happening on ground, Kariuki. Kariuki, if kindly bring us up to speed on what is happening on ground. Where are you? Have you started your way towards KICC?
I was at the Harambee house where the Ministry of Interior offices are located, but the Deputy President-elect, that is Kithure Kindiki, is yet to get to that area, but you're going to be following to just see what is going to be happening. But just like I had told you, is that later on he is going to be walking from the Harambee house to the KICC, where he's going to be sworn in as the third deputy president. But of course, just like you can see, there are so many Kenyans who have made their way here at the KICC, ready for this ceremony that is going to be starting at around 10 a.m. And from where I sit, I can see so many members of parliament. And some few minutes ago, while I was here on standby, I saw the member of parliament, Kibwezi West, arrive at this area. Remember, Mwengi Mutuse is the legislator, the Kibwezi West legislator, who brought a motion to impeach Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, from the office, just to remove him from office by way of impeachment. And so definitely he was applauded when he arrived here by the members of parliament who are here waiting for the ceremony to officially start. And he was actually welcomed here by with a lot of or rather applause by members of parliament. And from where I am standing, I can see several of them. I want to just engage them and hear what they have to say concerning this day. I can see the member of parliament for Langata, also member of parliament for Kadara, and also member of parliament Dagoretti South. I want just to have a feel of what they feel about the day, their expectations. I want to start first with the member of parliament. Yes, the chairman, he's also a member of parliament. You're going to be engaging him. Let me start with Mheshimiwa Jalas from Langata. This is a historic day as we see the third deputy president being sworn into office. What's your expectations?
Of course, yes. This is a manifestation of what our constitution is all about democracy and all. It's a big day, and this has never happened. This actually part of the constitution has never been evoked in any other day. So it's an historic day. It's happening for the first time, and it's going to be a very, very good day.
So, of course, Deputy President-elect, who is going to be now the third Deputy President, is going to be taking over. And there is a lot that is expected of him, maybe from where you sit. Also, what do you think are some of the things that you are looking forward to see from the new Deputy President?
The Deputy President is a symbol of national unity, just like the President is. We expect him to unite the whole country and work together and very closely with the President. That's all we need, nothing much.
Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa Jalas. And also I have Anthony Oluoch here. Asante sana, Mheshimiwa. And it's a historic day, just like I told Mheshimiwa Jalas here. And Kenyans are looking forward to a new era of Kithure Kindiki. You as a member of parliament here in Nairobi County, maybe what are your expectations?
First of all, thank you. And just to pick from the issue about the historicness of this, it is historic in many ways. First of all, it's a first impeachment under the 2010 Constitution. It will be studied as a case study of the fact that impeachment is a political process. It will be studied as a case study in law schools on how the courts handle this case in terms of a political process vis-a-vis the legal process. A political process can only be handled by political institution. What remains for the courts is to check a review of the propriety of the processes and the fairness of the trial. And I think in fairness, after having made this possible for the impeachment and the swearing in to take place, the deputy president still has a chance in court. Not so that he can be reinstated, but so that he can vindicate himself in terms of, was he given a fair process? He still has, and that's why the court said yesterday that they are not short of remedies. He may yet be saved from future barments or being barred to run as president. In terms of Professor Kithure Kindiki, my expectations are that he will move quickly to try and bring the country together. The country had been polarized in terms of political parties, in terms of tribe. The mountain itself had been polarized. I expect him to speak the language of Kenya. The one Kenya, one people, not my mountain, not my people, not my tribe, not my this. He's a professor of law. I expect that having been the CS for Interior, he will bring into this office, one, fidelity. I think a deputy president under the Constitution, other than the fact that it is said he will deputize, must bring absolute loyalty and help the president to unify as opposed to trying to divide the country. I expect that being a professor of law, he will bring to the table adherence to the rule of law and especially court orders. This I hope that he will bring to the table, and we hope that we will be able to find now a united presidency where we can focus more now on development other than division and politics.
And of course, we are talking about also a broad-based government. And some of the issues that faced the former deputy president was that he was not in support of the broad-based government. What's your reaction and what's your expectations in matters to do with the broad-based government as Kithure Kindiki comes into office? Do you feel and do you think he will be able to handle this issue that has been thorny in some way?
First of all, I think Professor Kithure Kindiki is a very measured man. The little that I have known about him, we have not been on the same political divide ever since Uhuru's first term and even now. We are now in the broad-based. I expect that he will embrace it. But I need to add that this is a morphing, changing political construct. We are still in the opposition. I, for one, would like to say that we will continue to check government, but I expect that his boss made a decision to embrace and open up government so that it will be national in outlook, what they now call broad-based. I myself call it come we stay. Come we stay because in the process we will try to define the tenets and the principle and how it will operate. But along the way, I hope, and knowing that Professor Kithure Kindiki is the measured man that he is, he has not shown up to this particular moment that he has any reservation on the political decision that his boss, His Excellency William Ruto, took. And I think he will help him to try and create synergy, not only with the people who are adopted in government, but also all regions of Kenya in terms of having a broad-based Kenyan people, Kenyan government.
Right. Thank you very much, a Member of Parliament for Mathare, Anthony Oluoch. And now I have Member of Parliament for Dagoretti South, Mheshimiwa John Kerry. And you are a member of the United Democratic Alliance, that's UDA. And if today is sworn in as the third deputy, then definitely he's going to be replacing Rigathi Gachagua as the deputy party leader of the UDA party. Now, what are we looking forward to when it comes to matters to do with the politics of the UDA party? Are we going to see a vibrant deputy party leader in terms of UDA politics? Of course, we know there has been a back and forth in the party.
Well, you've also got to remember that the Honorable Deputy President-elect is intricately intertwined with UDA. If you remember, he's one of the very founding members of the party UDA. And even at the time of the election, you remember he was designated the role of heading the campaign infrastructure, in the sense that he ended up being the chief agent for the party. But most importantly, parties run for office so that they are able to execute a manifesto. And if you remember, the UDA manifesto, which ended up being the Kenya Kwanza plan, was one that was built bottom-up, literally. If you remember, this was the party that went around the country, made 47 stops in every single county of this country, sat down with people, business people, people in enterprise, people in agriculture, people in all manner of sectors of industry, and ultimately signed charters with them. Came and signed charters with the youth, the women, and the people who are marginalized, and the people living, and the people with disability. All these charters are what were distilled into the Kenya Kwanza plan. And this becomes the priority of what the party wants to execute. It is to execute this manifesto, because within that manifesto, there is transformation. And as you can see, even in a year and a half of just execution of that manifesto, the core issues that were there in 2022, key among them being 1, debt distress, and 2, the cost of living, are starting to be alleviated. When you look at the debt distress, Kenya was able to honor all its commitments last year. And up to date, Kenya is up to date in its commitments. Very heavy debt commitments. Secondly, the issue of cost of living. It was an agenda in the campaign. Today, the cost of unga, you can see where it has come from. From the high of 270, now you can get unga at 110 at an ordinary shop, but you can also get it at lower as even 90 shillings. You look at the cost of fuel, it has consistently been going down. If you look at the inflation rate, from a high of 9% to now a low of 3.6%, you are at a time when the economy is reforming. So I would imagine that the biggest agenda that the Honorable Kindiki has to do is to fill a gap where the government agenda had slackened within the presidency, whereby politics took center stage and delivery took a backseat.
Right. Before I ask you another question, I can see from far the presidential entourage is making its way into this, into the Nairobi County from the State House.
The deputy entourage first and then the president.
Yes, I can see he has left the State House, and I think the deputy president's entourage will be leaving Harambee House just close here. But my question, my final question, Mheshimiwa KJ, of course in 2022 we understand that Kithure Kindiki had more votes in terms of the running mate's position. Now finally he has taken it up. He is now the new deputy. What will you make of that? Is it that now it's a dream fulfilled maybe for the president, William Ruto, who wanted to pick him as running mate maybe and decided to take Rigathi Gachagua?
No, I would not say that. I would not say that. You would remember that after the decision was made on who should be the running mate for UDA, everybody rallied around the deputy president position. But that is not even what's important. What's important is the journey that we have traveled from those very 5-long negotiating days in Karen. You remember the ones that culminated in the announcement of the deputy president then. It is to take account of what has happened since that very sunny Saturday morning, all the way to where we are today. What has been tested has not even just been individuals. What has been tested are the institutions of this country. That even the framers of the Constitution Kenya 2010 envisaged a situation like what we have gone through. The Parliament has been tested. The Senate has been tested. These matters were escalated to the highest points of seeking restitution, all the way to the High Court. And the outcome that has happened is an outcome that has been taken through a constitutional test that has been approved at every point for its veracity and for its respect and fidelity to the Constitution, the laws of Kenya, and even the regulations and statutes that have been put out.
Right. Yes. Thank you very much, Member of Parliament for Dagoretti South. I want to maybe first have a feel of those are leaders, the members of Parliament. I want to go and see if I can talk to some of the Kenyans who have made their way here, just to have a feel of what they can tell us concerning this day. Some of the Kenyans. So those who are members of Parliament. But let me head to where we would say Mwananchi Yuko, where the common Mwananchi is following this ceremony from. So I'm walking towards that area so that at least we hear what the common Mwananchi has to say. We've heard from the leaders, we've heard from the members of Parliament, but what do the Kenyans who are attending this ceremony have to say concerning the celebration? celebrations that are going to be happening today. So I'm going to be listening to their views just to have a feel of what they can tell us. Of course, they are here in their numbers just hear something that they have to tell us. Let me just get maybe one or two people who are going to tell us their expectations concerning the day today and what they are looking forward in terms of the women. I can see women who are here to celebrate. Let me just talk to them and hear what they have to say. I just want to hear what they have to say concerning this. Let me just hear. Just a minute. I want to hear from these Kenyans concerning this today. Tell them first to be silent a bit. Thank you very much for joining us here on KTN News, and maybe you can tell us what your expectations today concerning today.
Leo ni siku kubwa sana. Tumekuja juu ya kukuja kuapisha mdogo wa rais Kindiki, na sisi kama wa Kenya, watu wa Nairobi tumefurahi kulingana vile tumeona rais amefanya vizuri sana. Kenya yetu lazima ikae na amani, na hatutaki mtu akutusi rais, na ndio maana rais alifanya hiyo, akasema Kindiki akuwe mdogo wake.
Asante sana. And of course, I understand that the deputy president-elect Kithure Kindiki has already arrived. So meaning that any time from now, President William Ruto is going to be arriving here and is going to be making his way here, and the ceremony is going to officially start. Of course, it's slated to kick off at exactly 10 a.m. But let me just hear one more comment, then I hand it back to Aseto in studio on matters to do with today's celebrations. Labda unaweza ukatuelezea, what are your expectations wakati Kindiki atachukua nafasi hii ya kuwa rais wa naibu rais katika nchi hii? Unatazamia labda afanye nini?
Mimi kitu moja naweza omba Kindiki, usiwe kama Gachagua. Unajua Gachagua president alikuwa anatoa speech asubuhi, yeye anatoa saa 7. Mimi kitu naweza kukuambia Kindiki na kuomba uwe mtoto wetu mnyenyekevu na ufuate sheria ya president na upende gavana wetu na upende mabunge wetu. Hiyo ndio nakuhimiza. Upende.
Thank you very much. Of course, some sentiments concerning the expectations today on what the Kenyans have concerning the celebrations and about Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, who is going to be sworn in as the 3rd Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. But for now, Aseto, I want to hand it back to you in studio before we come back here and hear more reactions and more comments concerning today's celebrations. Over to you, Aseto.
Daniel Kariki joining us from the grounds there with Kenyans expressing their views on what they expect from the soon-to-be sworn-in Deputy President Kithure Kindiki. But those are live pictures as well that we are watching. That is Professor Kithure Kindiki just taking a stroll with with security detail. They are going to his former office where he will meet his staff before then proceeding to the KICC, where he then will be sworn in. Remember that today the man of the hour is Professor Kithure Kindiki. If I could just talk in terms of his life pretty much, and his early life and education. Born 17th July 1972 in Meru District. Kindiki attended Lenana School and later Moi University, where he obtained a Bachelor of Laws degree, and he also holds a Master of Laws and PhD in International Law from the University of Pretoria. He is a Professor of Law, and he began his career as a law lecturer at Moi University and later at the University of Nairobi, where he became the head of Department of Public Law. And now his political career, Kindiki's political journey began in 2013 when he was elected as the senator for Tharaka Nithi County. He served as the Senate's first majority leader, and he was re-elected in 2017, becoming the Deputy Speaker of the Senate. It will be remembered that Kindiki as well has actually been impeached as the Speaker, and in 2022 he was appointed as the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and Coordination of National Government, where he has served until this latest development that is seeing him being sworn in as the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. And it will also be remembered that at some point after the Gen Z demonstrations that happened in the country, he was actually let go from cabinet by the president, but was later brought back by the president. And notable roles that Kindiki has had, that is among top candidates considered for William Ruto's running mate in 2022 presidential campaign. Although he was not chosen, he was appointed as the Minister of Interior. Today, full circle, Kindiki goes back to being the Deputy President, despite the fact that he did not get that opportunity in 2022. If you can see on your screen, that is Kindiki meeting the speakers of both the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, and of the Senate, Amason Jeffa Kingi, that is at KICC, before he makes his way to the podium, to the venue where he will be sworn in as the Deputy President. Now, if we can just talk, Sandra, now with these latest development, as those pictures play, is this the reset button for President Ruto and his government?
The reason?
A reset button.
A reset button. Yes, I believe it is. I believe it is, and I say this with a lot of respect to the former Deputy President, but I think Professor Kindiki should have been the guy from the beginning, because I want to go back to where we were saying that as the CS of Interior, Professor Kindiki has worked quietly, silently, achieving. When we go to the issue of cattle rustling in Turkana area and Pokot and all those other regions, I think he has done a good job, because the place, the reports of deaths and cattle rustling attacks are not there. They have drastically reduced. I do not believe that the members of parliament, the Senate, and the governors of those areas would be quiet if there was nothing that has been achieved in those areas. On top of that, Professor Kindiki has also spearheaded police reforms. We have seen him at the head of ensuring that the KK manifesto of salary increase for the police has actually been achieved. So I think Professor Kindiki has turned out to be the person that President Ruto actually needed. The choice of Rigathi was only probably as good as for the elections, because like I said in the very beginning, Kenya is pandemically a political nation. But when after the elections, we expect our leaders to quickly transform into administrative and policy making, institutions in themselves. So I think Professor Kindiki got the memo. He transformed into a worker, into a policy maker, into a strategic deliverer for the Interior Ministry, and we would like to see him redeliver that also at the higher level of Deputy President. So is this the reset button? It sure is. We expect to see a lot. I would call on Professor Kindiki to embark on executing with a lot of zeal the Executive Order number 2. If he does that, he will be fulfilling, and he'll be helping the President to fulfill one of the key pillars of the KK manifesto, which is basically agriculture.
Yes. And yes, indeed, if you can see, those are live pictures from the KICC, where we're expecting for the president to arrive. Professor Kindiki is already at the vicinity there, is at the holding area before he makes his way to the podium where the exercise will be taking place. And I just want to thank Fanyamambo Kinuthia, who is a lawyer, and Peter Mushendu, political analyst, who have been our guests here from morning but had to leave due to other pressing matters. And we thank them very much. But But I've been joined by Dr. Luchetu Lukaka, who is equally an analyst who will be taking the baton as we move forward. And Dr. now, as today we expect the new man to be sworn in as the deputy president, that is Professor Kithure Kindiki. Is it a reset button for this government moving forward? Because you've seen a deputy president who's been there was impeached because at some point they were not seeing eye to eye with his boss. Professor Kithure Kindiki is there. Remember 2022, he was actually set to be the running mate for William Ruto back then. As we move forward, Kithure Kindiki, the reset button for this government, what should we expect?
Thank you so much for the invitation and thank you for the opportunity. To me, I don't see it as a reset button completely, because this is a government that Professor Kindiki has been serving in. The policies that have been implementing, he has been part and parcel of it. The challenges we've gone through, he's also been part and parcel of it. What they have done and what this portends is actually a kind of addressing the challenge we had at the cabinet level. But in terms of the delivery, more is expected, because we expect that the government can refocus, because they have been focusing more in terms of their internal conflicts as opposed to delivery. When you look at the Kenya Kwanza government, going back to how it was formed, Professor Kindiki has been at the heart of it. He's been at the heart of almost every other implementation. Yes, he's actually been one of the CSS that have come out like he has delivered based on his demeanor and how he has carried himself out. But there are a number of challenges, because he's coming to the office at a point where he has been the CS for Interior. We've had enough challenges around the 25th demonstration by the Gen Z, the young people that we lost. Those are the questions that are lingering around even while he's taking the new office. These are big questions that he has to answer, and probably a worry for the common person that what is likely to change. Likely we are not going to see much changing, because he actually presided over some of the atrocities, especially against the young people. But in terms of the general outlook, again, appreciating that he's the principal assistant to the president, aware how the President Ruto runs his government and what he has been doing before, I expect that Professor Kindiki will be so quiet, he'll be a yes man, expected to be a complete different from what the one who has left, the former Gachagua was. So probably we don't expect much, because Kindiki is not someone who is outspoken. He's not able to criticize the president, but then we expect that he'll play the critical role of supporting the president to deliver the mandate. But big issue here is there going to be change once he takes office? And that's what we look forward to, that after this we expect his speech to give us the new direction, but so not so much from what the president says, because he's the principal assistant. So we expect him being a kind of, I'll describe him as a yes man and very loyal. We don't expect much.
Sandra, those are new views that we've just gathered. That is in terms of, we expect the professor to be loyal to the president and the principal assistant. And rightfully so, even the same questions that we've been handling from morning in terms of the Gen Z. And this is seemingly one of the biggest conversations that, or issues that the professor has to deal with. So in terms of him becoming the principal assistant with all this lingering, how should he move to convince Kenyans that things will be different?
You know, there's something that people have been saying, and you know, it makes one wonder. The problem with Kenyans is that we make memes and we make political innuendos and statements, and they become a standard. People use them without even giving a second thought to, you know, are they logical? For instance, when we as Kenyans say that Kindiki had a high-pitched voice, because that was one of the things that they said after the elections, how has his high-pitched voice stopped him from being a cabinet secretary? How has his high-pitched voice ever stopped him from achieving? He started from Lenana High School. At the time, that was one of the creme of high schools in Kenya. You really needed to be good to qualify, and I'm sure he had an even higher pitched voice then. Then we come to the issue of now that he's a yes man. I mean, what is wrong with being yes? We saw what is wrong with being a no man. We saw what is wrong with being an indisciplined, you know, individual who refuses to follow protocol that exists in every organization. Even in the private sector where I have worked for, nth number of years, if you have an issue on how your boss has issued a directive or how things are being done, you can never rise up and castigate your boss during a board meeting or when you're having a staff meeting. You wait for a time when you go to the office and you have a sitting with them and you say, I think issue number 1, 2, 3, we could do it this way. But if people don't want a yes man, but you want a man who is unruly and uncontrollably vocal, then you're going to get an individual like Rigathi Gachagua, whom we have seen that in the process of being a non-yes man has gone ahead to antagonize everybody. He fought with cabinet secretaries, he fought with members of parliament, and that is why he did not even have numbers. People keep saying that Uhuru Kenyatta did not impeach former Deputy President Ruto because he was such a nice guy. No, he failed to impeach former Deputy President William Ruto because Uhuru did not have the numbers. Ruto had the what we call emotional intelligence throughout all the issues that he was going through, and he was able to create networks with the members of parliament. Regarding whom you people are saying is the vocal guy that you want, in that vocality, he antagonized everybody, and he brought the government to a halt. And that's why there's a lot of things pending. Executive order number 2 is still pending because of that character. So we are ready for the yes man. I think let's try this yes man. Being yes is not a bad thing. Being yes means he's loyal. Being yes means he will say yes when they're having a public session, but he is probably an intelligent individual, being a professor and a lawman at that point, who will go behind the scene and discuss with his president what he may think is wrong. He doesn't have to stand up and make a press conference in Mombasa when the president is doing a press conference in Nairobi for us to appreciate him.
Dr. Now, there is no problem with the professor being a yes man. But even while at that as the principal assistant to the president, in terms of just handling business in private and jail together moving forward, that was a point of disconnect with the former deputy president. As Kindiki now gets into this office as the professor of law, that he is, and even advising his boss, the president, is there room for him to do that? Is the president a listening man?
Thank you so much, my brother. One, you need to appreciate that there's a very cordial relationship between Professor Kindiki and the President William Ruto. He has been his lawyer for the longest time. Yeah. He's somebody who has got very good demeanor in handling issues. And again, the question that common man will be interested to hear or see is that whether that loyalty will help the president to deliver. That's the biggest issue. We will not even worry so much about their own relationship. But the key thing for the common person is that now that they have hounded out Gachagua in that procedural way, the question is, are they going to deliver? That's the biggest question that we are interested in. Considering that Professor Kindiki is a professor of law, and with that kind of demeanor, the relationship they've had with the president, we expect things to change overnight in terms of excellent delivery. Yes, the common manager will still ask those questions about accountability. We will not want to brush and wish them away, because this is something we can't ignore. It has already happened. It is there. Ours is now picking up from there. How do we give them support so that they can actually deliver on the basis that here we have a mandate, we have a relationship, we have seen how this relationship has previously failed to deliver. And again, Kindiki has no much say because he may not have been part of that shareholding arrangement. Remember, the president did have this arrangement with all these other parties, except the former deputy president, whom they agreed verbally on the basis of mutual relationship. So that is something that Kindiki have no way he can question. He is there to deliver. We expect him now to run with the manifesto, to run with those promises that President had promised Kenyans to deliver. So there's much more expected. Based again on his demeanor and loyalty, we want to see, can he now take it to action by giving the president the best support?
Sandra, Now, Kithure Kindiki is the man of the moment. I will be sworn in a few as the deputy president. And as Daktari has rightfully said, now moving forward, Kenyans will be more concerned about the delivery from these duo, President William Ruto and his deputy, Professor Kithure Kindiki, in terms of them working together in synergy and delivering to Kenyans. What would we see different from how the president was engaging with Rigathi Gachagua?
I think going back to what I said at some point before, that it would appear that the choice of the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua was a mistake, simply because him being inherently political, he was unable to transform himself into a policy and strategy and a governance executive, so to speak. But with Professor Kindiki, we saw that he immediately took up his role as a CS. And like I've said, he has delivered to a certain degree. The issue of talking about the deaths and the protest deaths, I think we covered that at the start of the program, where we said there is something called IPOA. Before we go for the cabinet secretary, IPOA has its rules and regulations in terms of investigating the excesses of the police. And one of the things that we also saw in handling the issue of the excesses of the police at the time of both the post-election and the Gen Z protests was the removal of IG Koome. So I think, like we have said, that Kenyans, we need to now give this government a chance. From day one, we have bashed the government. I think it's important that we give it a chance. So what we're expecting from Professor Kindiki, going by his performance in the Interior Ministry, going by his past relationship with the president, going by his character, we expect to see a person who will truly go out of his way to be the assistant that the president needs. Meaning what? When the president is out of the country, Professor Kindiki will truly take up the role of being the person who is in charge, and being in charge will not mean that he's going to go to Meru and hold campaign rallies to talk about how, you know, this government is not treating me right. I think the president now can be confident that he has someone who is going to focus more on the governance aspect of this regime, which is what is needed, than the political play games that former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua had put in place. I think the other thing that we probably will see from what we have seen him do in the Ministry of Interior is that Professor Kindiki is going to surround himself with professionals who are going to be aligned to what is required, and I believe especially towards the demands that are in the Executive Order number 2. We may see him have a lot of agriculture and, I don't know, industrialization experts. Because like I said, we're an agri-industry, and Executive Order number 2 expects him to grow this country into, you know, an agri-industry. I expect him to start off by, like the way he has broken the cattle rustlers. I do believe that Professor Kindiki, he may seem calm, quiet, but he seems very ruthless if he can break the cattle rustlers.
If we can just, those are live images coming from KICC. We can see that is a nominated senator there with Kenyans just waiting for the big day today, the big time, man of the moment, Professor Kithure Kindiki, to be sworn in as the third Deputy President of the Republic. And those security officers there are the men who worked with men and women who worked with the professor in the Interior Ministry. Kenyans as well, just waving their flag, celebrating the big day. Remember, today they have been, Kenyans have been given a public holiday to be part of this exercise. We are about to get to that big moment when the swearing-in exercise will be taking place. And on set, I've been joined again with the Dr. Luchetu Lukaka, who is an analyst, and lawyer Kefa Ojijo, who's just made his way in as well, as we continue to canvass this conversation. Now, Daktari, As the professor will be sworn in today, the modus operandi will have to change. We've seen the former deputy president, the politics of shareholding, addressing security matters in the glare of the public. And moving forward, we look at a professor who understands the law, who is expected to do things differently. So in terms of even the Professor Kindiki engaging Kenyans and his message to Kenyans in terms of delivery, we have a Kenya Kwanza manifesto that needs to get to Kenyans. This is how we will do it. How do we see a departure from how the former deputy president was handling his affairs?
Thank you so much. We expect that based on his demeanor and character, he is going to be completely different. In fact, if you consider the two characters in terms of Professor Kindiki and the former deputy president, they are completely different. And we expect that Kindiki will handle himself with very high decorum. He's a soft-spoken person, but very firm based on how he carries out his activities. He's actually going to measure his words when it comes to handling the public and basically playing to the gallery in terms of the president's vision and mission. And therefore, having a good relationship, especially in the cabinet with their fellow cabinet members, we expect that now that is actually going to cement the relationship. And remember, a government is well run by bureaucrats who really understand how a government functions, as opposed to the politics like the former deputy president was doing. So here we expect that a government that will be well knit, a government that will actually focus on its delivery, because this government is facing a number of challenges. And based on the challenges that they've had from the day they were sworn in, they have a short time to turn around the whole public confidence that has been eroded, to bring back that confidence in terms of their delivery for purpose of ensuring that actually Kenyans get satisfied.
And we now go to Nyeri County, where my colleague and reporter Clement Masombo is. Good morning, Clement. If you can just bring us up to speed on what the residents of Nyeri are saying with regard to the ongoing exercise today. Remember that the impeached deputy president Rigathi Gachagua comes from Nyeri. So what are the residents there saying about the exercise today, Masombo?
Well, not a very good morning here in Nyeri County, of course, Aseto, given that Nyeri County is the home of the former deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua. And from the onset of this impeachment process, residents of Nyeri County felt that there was some level of betrayal from President William Ruto, given that they were elected on a ticket to serve with the Rigathi Gachagua as his deputy. But then when all this exercise began, residents of Nyeri have since been expressing their views, saying that there has been some betrayal from President William Ruto, whom they expected that they would hold on to each other until their first term comes to an end, despite any challenge that they will overcome. And this morning, when we are expecting Professor Kithure Kindiki to be sworn in as the third deputy president of the Republic of Kenya, of course, the residents of Nyeri are not happy with the outcome of the National Assembly, the Senate, and yesterday of the verdict by the High Court of Kenya, which ruled in favor of the respondents in a petition that had been filed to challenge the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua as deputy president of the Republic of Kenya. And right now, I want to engage some of them and get their views and what exactly they feel about this whole exercise. Let me start with you. You will start by introducing yourself and tell us how you feel about this whole exercise. We are now, it's just a matter of minutes or if not hours that we will see Kithure Kindiki being sworn in as the third deputy president of Kenya.
Well, my name is Ed Gitonga. I am a resident of Nyeri. And the truth of the matter is, I was not literally shocked by what happened, because where there is smoke, there is always a fire. But my question, my greatest horror was, if indeed it went that way as far as the impeachment process is concerned, the question is, how about common wananchi like I, who's going maybe to be arraigned in court over something maybe malicious? If someone like Rigathi Gachagua, despite everything that he had, which was actually, to be quite honest, nothing that happened to Rigathi Gachagua was constitutional in any way. But now the question is, if it went that way, because even they had even proceedings against the judges because of conflict of interest. But the question is, well, the judiciary just went along with the whole process. Now the question is, if indeed Rigathi Gachagua, who is a very powerful person, who was a powerful person in the government, right now he cannot get his justice. How about you and I in this, down here? That's the question. And you know.
That is Clement Masombo joining us from Nyeri County there, and the views from the residents of Nyeri. But now we go straight to the big event that is happening at KICC. Professor Kithure Kindiki walking to the podium, the man of the moment. Let's just listen in to what is happening at the KICC.
Kithure! Ametenda, tuimbe Emmanuel ame. Basi ndio huyo tunamwona Deputy President Designate Professor Kithure Kindiki wakiwa moja kwa moja na Dr. Joyce Gateria Kithure wamefika siku njema leo. Wakenya tuwakaribishe kwa shangwe. Shangwe ya Deputy President Designate. Karibu, karibu. Wale ambao tuko na viti tunaweza tukaketi. Naona watu wa Mbwekse.
Naomba wimbo Mimi ni Mkenya Daima.
Haya basi, tunaendelea kungojea Mheshimiwa Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya ambaye atawasili hivi karibuni, lakini tayari sherehe imeanza.